Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today, where we're going to be covering how outsourcing operation and maintenance manual management can not only save you time and money, but also support the digitisation process and enable a better relationship with clients. I'm Maria Hudson, CMO at Zutec, and I will be your moderator for today. I'm joined today by Cameron Jacobson, head of our business development team at Zutec, who'll be talking you through some of the things that we have been hearing from you in the industry. He will cover some of the current market trends in terms of the path to digitization, as well as what we're hearing around digital handover, how we support O&M and building manual creation. And then Cam will go through a demo of some of the solution and share how we can work with you. He will then hand over to Carolina Boda, Zutec's head of handover at customer operations, who will talk about what you can change for better processes and how to get started with a company like Zutec. We'll wrap up at the end with some questions, so please do share these. You can share these on the chat board or on the Q&A box at the bottom of the right hand of the screen. There will also be polls throughout the session, so please share your insight, as this helps us understand more about what you need and how we can better support you. The poll button can also be found at the bottom of the screen as well. Please do ask questions throughout the session, and we'll either cover them off as we go through the deck, or we'll cover them off at the end. So before we get started, I'm just going to give a bit of an overview on Zutec and who we are. So for those of you that don't know us, Zutec has been providing O&M creation, digital handover, and construction and property technology to our customers, primarily in the UK and Ireland, for over 25 years. Our business started out with supporting the delivery of O&M and building manuals, but to build and grow the business, over the years, we've acquired complementary companies such as CreateMaster, who some of you may know on the call today, so that we can lead the way in digital handover and provide best-in-class software and solutions across the REBA stage of the building life cycle. As the UK's #1 O&M provider, we provide streamlined trade management, dashboard analytics and reporting, structured data in one platform, and a comprehensive data set to our customers. Today, we are working with over 500 customers. We've processed 35 million documents and digitized 13,000 buildings, working with some of the biggest and smallest contractors. And you can see some of these on the slide here. So to talk a little bit more about digital handover and what we've been hearing in industry trends, I'm now going to hand over to Cam. Thanks, Cam.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. I guess I'll start off by saying we're very fortunate here that we've been market leaders within this space for about 2 decades here with Project Handover. So we've got a vast experience of speaking to all types of contractors, whether that's small, medium, or large, to get an overview of what's working well, specifically in that digital handover and project handover space. As well as what are some of those challenges that we're facing out on site and when we're coming up to PC. So we've taken down some notes that we've taken specifically from some of our customers. So if I start off with inaccurate handover information, is creating delays, misunderstandings, and then increasing aftercare costs. This is very typical that a contractor might leave their O&M delivery towards the last couple months of a project, even in some cases a month to go or even a couple of weeks. And that contractor will have retention set out from the client, which leaves very small margins leading up to the end of the project. So as a recommendation from ourselves is to really start that delivery process as soon as possible when you're jumping onto a project, and understanding that there's going to be different aspects of actually delivering the information, understanding when we should be reaching out to trades, and that this isn't all just going to happen within 2 weeks. We really need to prepare and understand what needs to be delivered for that handover. We've got end client expectations, which are constantly changing. Specifically to do with this, we're moving more towards digital. Out of the 250 projects typically that we deliver, only 4 to 5 of those would actually involve hard copies. So very much clients now are looking to digitalize their processes. We're seeing new deliverables as well coming into the EIRs, which are the employees information requirements we've not come across previously. So these could be things such as FEF files, which is for fire and safety, as well as Regs 38 information, which needs to be collected out on site. And we're really here to help contractors understand what that means for them and what information will be needed for their handover to the client. Every time a client can't find a document, we have to pay again to collect it. Now, typically this will be in the DLP periods, the defects liability period, which can last anywhere from 6 to 12 months. It's very common from contractors that we're speaking to that will have the end client coming back to the contractor looking for as-built drawings or certifications which are needed for the maintenance of the building. And then that's left with the contractor to chase out with the rest of the trades, taking up time from their team, which could be spent on projects that they're currently working on. So it's really important that we make sure we have an accurate set of data ready for the end client when we do get to PC. A digital culture just doesn't exist. Well, fortunately, we've seen an uplift, I would say, over the last 5 years of people moving towards digital platforms. We've seen it in the case of CDEs, common data environments. The majority of contractors at the moment are using CDEs. But when it comes to O&Ms and handover, this is something that is probably taking a bit more time than other aspects of the construction life cycle. And I believe this is just down to education of understanding what is actually required from the end clients, especially with new regulations which have come into play, which heavily is going to impact the information that we do need at handover. And then finally, poor handover information is causing frustration and dissatisfaction, putting strain on client relationships. Now, in the market we're in at the moment, as we're all probably aware, it is difficult to win new business. And when we do win that business, we want to make sure that we can retain it. And with that, it's just important that we make sure the client is happy with the information they're receiving. It's compliant to what is required within their EIRs. And they're going to leave that project with a positive experience. And if they do have potential projects in the future, then yourselves are going to be the first ones that they think of any projects moving forwards. And I guess moving on forwards to where we are now, we've really been at the forefront of moving projects handover towards digitalization. So gone are the days of just handing over files and folders that are going to sit in the client's office and never be touched again. And if they are touched, more than likely that information can be missing through poor quality assurance methods being used, such as the development team taking documents out and then not returning them. So what we're seeing from our clients is they're expecting accurate, complete and quality data at handover. They're expecting better support when the project is handed over. I think a good example of this is some of the clients that we deal with from the end user or end client aspect will just have a massive data dump of loads of documents that have been sent from the contractors, and they will pass that information to us to put it into a structured format. Now, we can prevent these scenarios by happening by making sure we have processes in place to make sure that we do have a standardized way of working to reach PC, and also just make sure that we're not having any defect resolution issues that we spoke about earlier, that's during that DLP period. We're also seeing reg changes and sustainability demands such as BREEAM certifications coming across building user guides, as well as stuff like the BSA and FEFs that are coming into play, which quite frankly, some contractors aren't just aware of what information is needed. So just a bit more discovery into understanding how we can deliver to our clients needed is where we can help. And I'll pass over to Maria for our first poll.
Thanks, Cam. So as I said, we do have the poll. You can access the poll at the bottom of the right-hand screen. And that poll is, what are your greatest challenges in handover? So if you could all add your votes to this. And we can see some of the votes coming in. I think it's a cross between aftercare issues, cost uncertainty, unreliability of paper-based processes, understanding what's required. So it looks like there's various different challenges when it comes to handover from those on the call. So I'll now hand back to you, Cam.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of these coming in, and it looks like aftercare issues is up top there as well, and that directly links in with this end client relationship we were speaking about. So yeah, interesting to understand what people in this room are struggling with at the moment. So I guess you're thinking, what is digital handover? Well, essentially, digital handover is a complete data set of the building's asset information. So the contractor provides all the asset information with a comprehensive data set of the building information. This includes all of the information that's required for the asset management teams to maintain that building, which includes the building manuals, which the contractor obviously has to contractually oblige by. And we have some best practices that we've learned from speaking with contractors and working with contractors as well. So one of the key ones is making sure during that handover period that we're bringing in the client as early as possible. So if we can speak to the client towards the start of the project and really understand what they're looking for at the end of the project, we can work towards making sure that their requirements are fulfilled, rather than leaving that to the back end of the project where there's going to be bottlenecks and potentially delays to that PC. Another one is just making sure that there's cost certainty up front. So even if as a contractor you're looking to do your project internally, it's important to also make sure you get some costs to understand what it's going to cost if you are looking to outsource the project. And the main reason for this is we know how things go on site, right? Things could be looking great for 2-3 months, we're all on track, and then next thing you know, it's all hands on deck, we're trying to race up till PC. So it's really important that we initially budget in what it's going to cost to outsource O&Ms, and if that correlates to our actual project budget, it's something that we can just set aside, and it's not going to be an unexpected cost when we get further down the line. Making sure the data is structured and easy to find. This isn't just the end client that's going to see the benefit of this. This is actually the contractor themselves as well. If, say, your design manager, document controller has easy and quick access to find where information is, to approve of information, and also just make sure that we've got everything that's required for each specific package, it's going to make a huge difference in reducing any aftercare issues when we come towards the end of the project and within the DLP period. And I guess what we've just seen consistently within the market is people moving away from hard copies. And this is just becoming into digital records where we can accurately find that information. And we know for a fact that we're not going to lose that information. The fact that we've got that sat on a platform with an easy to use search function. So from here, I'm just going to take you through a quick demonstration of what the platform looks like to give you an understanding of what to expect if you were to work with ourselves here at Zutec. Fantastic. So first off, what I thought I would showcase is our fortnightly report. So this is a report that all of our contractors would receive, which gives them insight into package-specific progress towards PC. So as you can see here, we've got a status for this project, which is on track. We've also got the percentage of completion, which is at 52%. And then we've also got the person from our team, which is accountable for this. So we have a handover success manager. So we'd expect someone within your team to be accountable. That could be a design manager or a document controller who's going to be the key point of contact. But we also have our own resource specific for this project that's accountable for making sure that we have a smooth PC. Now, what you'll see here in this red box is all of our customer reviews awaiting review in draft 1. So what draft 1 means here is that Zutec ourselves have correlated the information, we've reached out to the trades, we've got what we think is relevant for PC, but we're just going to need final approval from yourselves as the contractor that this is ready to be handed over to the end client. The main reason for this is that there's technical elements that are involved that we're just not on site with. So for example, with the decorating package here, let's say the wall was red, there's no way that we would know that's red, so we would need someone from your internal team to confirm that. We also have a snapshot of the package breakdown, so really good for project managers to get an insight with how things are progressing. They can update external stakeholders, so say the client's asking for an update on the handover information, we can send across a quick snapshot so they have an understanding there of how things are progressing. We have the different stages that the information sat in. So draft 1 that we just spoke about is the information we've received. We've sanity checked it, and that's been passed over to yourself, the contractor, to review that information before moving to final. We have the information that we've received, but it's not being processed yet. We've also got information that's been returned to the provider. So the most common scenario with return to provider is that we've received a few markup drawings, but they're not the as-built drawings. So we want to make sure that we've got the correct drawings ready for handover, as opposed to just some marked up drawings that have been sent across. So that's just that more sanity check to make sure that we've got the right information and the end client's going to be happy at PC. And then we've got the information that we haven't received yet. We've also just got key statistics, so things like calls made, the amount of emails that have been sent, the number of packages in progress. So we can just have a quick snapshot fortnightly, every 2 weeks, to basically just make sure that there's no red flags during the handover process. You'll see here we have package specific information. So we've got the package name, we've got the responsible party, we've got the time when they're due out on site, we've got the information about when they were last chased, the number of times that we've chased, and any comments that we've got from our delivery team. You'll see here, we can see this information sat in draft 1, means that we've received all the as-built drawings, we've got the certificates needed. This is just sat with the contractor now to confirm, and then that will be ready for PC. And then finally, we have return to provider. So for example, here we've contacted this company 12 times. We've not received the information that's required. This is something that could be escalated to yourself as the contractor to help source this information. Great. So if I now move on to our platform. So this is the platform that yourselves, the contractor, will have access to. You could also give the access here to the end client if they want consistent updates with how our handover is progressing. But what you'll see in the middle here is a project status overview. So you'll see the number of packages that were expected, or amount of information that we're expected to receive against what we've actually received. So that's just a quick snapshot into how we're progressing. We can also see by company type. So we can specifically see that Thornbury Surfacing is at 50%, whereas in AJ Gallopin Contracting Flooring, they're at 100%. So more than likely, we're happy to release payments if you have a QS that's working on the project, because we know that we've got all of the information that's needed to move that final stages and ready for PC. We then have our actual file structure on the left-hand side. So what's expected at handover is 2 USB sticks with all of the informations in a file structure seen below. So you would have your project name under demo building. We've then also got all our health and safety information, which is under the health and safety file. We've also got all of our fabric packages. So this could be things such as cladding, blinds, piling. We have all of our services packages, so thinking M&E. And then finally, all of the certificates for the building will be located in a specific file structure as well. So this is just something that we've built out through the years of experience of delivering these projects and what client expectations typically are. We also have an actions required tab. So this is a tab for the contractor if there's any actions on them, i.e. reviewing the information. It's important to know this is not just a system added to your already probably convoluted tech stack, I imagine, if there's 5 or 6 different systems in. This is more as a read only and a source of finding information on the platform. So for yourself, this is an opportunity to see if there's any information that essentially you need to review in draft 1, as well as if there's any information there that needs to be escalated with some of the trades because we haven't received any of the information. You'll then see we'll have a providers tab. So we'll see where the documents are currently. So as you can see here, we have 92% in the final stage, and then we still have 7% there still left to receive the information. Typically, QSs use this to release payments. So FP Hurley, for example, I mean, it looks like they're almost near the point where that we can release payments for them. If we reach 100% of information, but then say Lusso Interiors, for example, that's someone that would need to consistently chase out to find that information. And then someone in your team, whether that's a document manager, design manager, project manager, will be able to specifically go into different packages to find information if required. So for example, the binds packages, we can see all of the information's there. We can also download that information and have a snapshot to see what that looks like. We could also break this down by company type as well. So for example, AJ Gallup Contracts and Floorings, we can see that there's a lot of information here that's at the final stage. We can change this to decide what the actual stage is going to be. So if we wanted to specifically look at all the items that we've not received, we can click on here and see all of the different companies that are associated with we've not received the information yet. And then we can start drawing things out depending on what the document type is. So we have different sections, obviously like certificates, drawings, guarantees, warranties. Luckily, we're at 100% across the board here, but typically what you would see is you would see some outstanding items here that would need our input in terms of chasing out with the different trades. And then that could be specifically done by either company or packages, making it very easy to find that information. I guess typically what most contractors will be doing is that this process will just be files and folders on a Dropbox or SharePoint, which makes it very difficult to find where that information is. So having a platform with the searchability that we do have with all of the metadata under each document makes it very easy to find. Now I'll hand over to Maria.
Thanks, Cam. That was really insightful, actually, seeing the platform in process and how it works. And I guess with some of the reporting, Cam, that's provided in a PDF format. Is that right, to the customer?
Yeah, so it's a PDF format that is sent across fortnightly. Mm-hmm. So every 2 weeks, the contractor receives that information, and it's more of a red flag. So let's say, for example, we're just getting ahead of the curve, making sure that there's no potential issues that we're going to receive 2 weeks from PC. We're just going to have that visibility, say 4-5 months before that's going to occur.
Brilliant, thank you. So we're now with our second poll, and that poll is: how are you currently delivering handover documentation? So if you could click the poll button at the bottom of the right-hand screen again and add your votes, that would be great. We are looking at hard copies, USB sticks, files and folders, e.g. something like SharePoint, email and Excel, or platform delivery. So I can see your votes coming in, and it looks like files and folders are some of the areas where we're using to store documents and O&Ms at the moment. So that's probably the biggest area for delivery. And then USB sticks is coming in as second, which is quite interesting. That, you know, it's still a digital format that's being used rather than card copies, but I guess probably using something like SharePoint probably doesn't structure it necessarily in the way that it needs to be. Is that right, Cam?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and I guess it's actually a good thing that we're not seeing too many hard copies still being delivered. With the file and folder structure, I think one of the main comments with that is what's actually expected from the client. So we have a package expectation list that we've built out over the last decade of package specific information. So whether that's cladding, whether that's the blind, of what information we actually need. And does the contractor actually know if that informations are in those files and folders? Because typically what I'm seeing from end clients is that they're coming back and essentially pushing back to find further information. And sometimes getting us to reach back out to the trades to correlate that information. But yeah, it's good to see that we're already on that journey.
Yeah, good. So I'm now going to hand over to Carolina, who's going to talk a bit more about how you can get started with a company like Zutec. Thank you, Carolina.
Thank you, Maria. Good afternoon, everyone. So, yeah, I'm going to take you through the 5 steps from start to end and how your journey is going to be with us. So once we have received an instruction from Cameron's team, full description of the scope of works, how many packages, how many trade contractors you have on site that you need us to chase to get information from. Once we have that information, then we complete project setup. And what is project setup? Basically, based on the demonstration of the platform that Cameron just showed us, what we need to do is to create this space for your project. So based on the number of packages, we create this structure folder tree, and then we will review this in our first kickoff meeting. Also, if we have any deliverables, like fire emergency file, we include this as part of our project setup. Also, we make sure that all this is linked to the way we are going to report to you. That PDF format, that report that Cameron said, show you also has all the information, packages, trade contractors, start day, due day, when we are expecting the information. This comes from information that the client provides. What happens in this kickoff meeting? So once we have completed project setup, we will contact you. We will provide you with access, login details. You will need to set your own password, different to what happens with a SharePoint. You can share the folder to your client, but anyone can delete, edit. It's not really secure. What we do with a platform is that we provide access to specific accounts. Then how we are with you in this process. So phase 3 is really, really important, where we will start chasing trade contractors. Every 2 weeks, we will send automated emails, and in these emails, we will specify what we need from them. So there are different statuses in the process. When we have not received any information at all, as Cameron showed in the report, then our template says that we are still expecting that information. When we have reviewed information, but we have returned it because they don't comply with the minimum requirement that we have to pass it for your revision, then we will leave a comment, and then you will know the reason why we returned that document. And if it's draft status, then you will see that the document, perhaps we have received the manual, but we are still missing some as-built drawings and some commissioning certificates. Naturally, they come towards the end of the project, but we still want you to review the manual. As Cameron said at the beginning, early involvement is key, so we get you engaged as soon as we start chasing trade contractors, as soon as we start receiving information. The reports, as we said, The reports, they show what comments we have left through our chasing process, what are the status of the packages, but you can also see progress. What is the activity? What we have done during since we got involved in the project until the moment you have received this progress report. And there will be a point towards completion where we will going to set a new meeting face-to-face. And in this meeting, what we want to ensure is that we have everything that you need for project completion. So there will be packages or trade contractors that have not provided any information at all. So we will need to make decisions. Who is going to provide this information, what information we can receive, what information we can omit. Ideally, we want your confirmation of what we have received is good for you for project completion. You also have 4 weeks after PC. So what we need from the moment of appointment is a specific project completion day. We understand that when it comes to a project completion day, you will still have as-built drawings, final testing, commissioning certificates, any building control certificates, final approvals is still to be sent to us. So we give you that period of time so you can send us that information to have everything ready for you. And that's what we do in the closeout process. So once we have reached to PC, we will have this meeting. We will have some of the trade contractors, key trade contractors, for example, trade contractors like services or any key finishes in your project. They will be in this meeting, so they also are being held accountable for the completion of this information. We can pass to the next one. How do we collaborate? And this is really, really important that from the moment we get engaged with you, we have clear expectations. What you can expect from us and what help we need from you as a client. So what you can expect from us, project setup. As soon as we receive project directory, you will have your son on the platform where you can see live updates, when you can see what information has been uploaded, when you can see exactly everything that Cameron just mentioned, by package, by tray, by status. Trade contractors communication. So we will ensure that we send emails to our trade contractors, but also we will let you know if we have not received any response. And we want to let you know when you can do something about it, when it's not too late. What we don't want is that we didn't let you know, and then the trade contractors have already left the site. We don't want to get to that point because we know that it's stressful, and most of the time it's very difficult to get the information that we need from them. Information, so processes, the process, once we have received the information on a platform, then we will let you know when it's ready for your approval. How do we let you know? In your progress reports. So it's really, really important that when you receive your progress report, you log into the platform and then you filter by a status and you get your manuals approved. We ask you to get these manuals approved as soon as possible because if you have any comments and we need to return this information to the trade contractors, we want to allow that time for them to amend the documents and send it back to us for your final approval. Escalation. So as I said, anything that needs to be escalated to you, we will let you know as soon as possible. Progress report, as Cameron already showed, and project closure support. And the support really is not only when we are closing the project. The support is from the moment you get engaged with us until we close the project. This is what we guarantee. You will get support from us. What we need from you. So mainly engagement, that you look into the platform, and the more you do it, that becomes easier. The more projects you have, then you can just navigate, and then it becomes really, really, really easy. Support with trade contractors. When we escalate, we really need your help, either if they have already left the site, providing information that they provided to you directly, or information that might be in our collaboration tools. Also, any commercial pressure. So, as Cameron said before, sometimes QS use our platform to see if they have provided all the information, then can release payment. That's something really, really useful for us to get information that we need. Final review, I already explained this, getting all documents draft status to final, and notifications to any changes, either in PC, contact details of trade contractors. Sometimes the reason why I don't get information is because we have been chasing the wrong person, or you change the company, or the person that was managing your site has left. So we want to make sure that we are always chasing the right person in your team. And that is it. And just
Thank you, Carolina.
Yeah, thanks for that, Carol. And I guess just to wrap up, I hope everyone's found it useful having a dig around our platform and also understanding some of the best practices that we have here at Zutec, as well as seeing if you can potentially implement that into how you're currently working. I had some key takeaways for myself. So I think one of the main things to remember is what we're trying to do really is streamline train management for accountability and quality control, knowing that we're working with a package expectation list which is specific to your requirements. So you're going to have a tailored experience depending on what actually needs to be delivered. That 24/7 visibility into how PC is progressing with dashboard analytics, reporting for enhanced project monitoring and document progress tracking, just making sure that we reduce any errors and enable corrective action earlier in the cycle as opposed to 2 weeks out from PC. Having the ability as well to structure our data on one platform, so this information is not sat on multiple systems, facilitating a quicker handover process and avoiding any information that might be missed, leading to aftercare issues later on. And then finally, just faster delivery compared to internal processes and paper-based processes, making sure that we're reducing the amount of bottlenecks later in the project, and then ensuring just the client has a good experience and they received all the information that they need first time. But great. Is there any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Cam. Thank you, Carolina. So we just wanted to put this slide up kind of as closing, as a closer, just to show some of the feedback that we have been getting from customers. But if you do have questions, please do put them on the question tab or chat message board and we can address them. We have had a couple that have come in, Cam, and you did touch on this earlier, but maybe you can go into a bit more detail around if you have multiple systems in place today, is it just adding to what contractors already have? How can you talk a bit more about that and kind of adding another system in this case?
Yeah, of course. I think that's one of the things that contractors are most skeptical about, because there's been this digital transformation over the last 5 to 10 years. There's so many different tech stacks that we're using, whether that's a QM tool, whether that's a CDE, whether that's a procurement tool, and you're just thinking you're going to have to add another system to that. The way that we see our dashboard and reporting is really as a read-only and an information finder. So it's more of a case of you being able to find that information much easier and not have to dig into multiple different systems like Word, SharePoint, Dropbox, where all this information is typically sat, as well as the CDE. So we just have a single source for where all that information for handover is actually going to sit. And the system's intuitive, right? It's simple to use. It's search function, which makes the overall experience easy for both the end client and then also the contractor when they need to review information.
Thank you, Cam. And there has been another question come in around pricing and how we price our projects.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. So it does depend on a few variables, and it's worth reaching out to one of our commercial leads if you do have a question around pricing. But typically it's going to be based on the construction value of the project, i.e. the more work or information that's involved in the project, the higher the price is going to be. It's going to depend on the number of trades that we have to reach out to on the project. So there's a few variables there that need to be taken into account, like deliverables as well. because we're leading experts in this space, we have different deliverables like home user guides, building user guides that can also be added on to just a standard delivery. So it's just really important in that first stage to have a proper scoping session with your commercial lead to understand what is required.
Great, thank you, Cam. And probably a question for you, Carolina. How much support is there when setting up a project? Can you go into a bit more detail on that?
Yes, of course. So the client doesn't need to do anything for project setup, just to provide information. So what we do when we send them the link for them to set up their own password is because we have already a space on a platform. In terms of support, so we understand during the kickoff meeting, we go through the same that Cameron went in the demonstration, a little bit more of detail where they can find specific information once we upload it, how they can find it. But also, if the client is checking the information, they cannot find it, we have a team. They can just pick the phone, send us an email. We respond within 48 hours when we receive an email. However, if it's anything important, they can contact the Handover Success Manager, and we will be there to support you, to guide them. A quick Teams call just to show them how to navigate the platform, how to find information. That's the support that we will always guarantee for the client.
Great, thank you, Carolina. And probably one more for you, actually. How does the contractor know if the information is correct and ready for revision?
Okay, this links to the package expectation list that was mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. So for each package, there is a minimum requirement that we have. Some of them, we understand that some trade contractors won't issue a manual, let's say a package like decorations. They won't issue a manual, but they will send us manufacturer's literature. So if we have this information, we don't need any as-built drawings, we don't need any final testing and commissioning certificate. We send it to the client for final approval. If, however, the client thinks that the trade contractor should provide us with an O&M manual, then we reach out and say, look, you need now to provide an O&M manual. For services, it's a little bit more complex, so we need to make sure that we have a system description, that we have as-built drawings. What we do when we receive drawings, we check that the label says as-built, no construction. If we say this for a sanity, proper quality check that we do, we return it. If we receive commissioning certificates that are not signed, we return it as well. Or sometimes we even receive manuals that have a watermark that says draft. Mm-hmm. Because this is not good enough for our client review. We don't want to waste our client's time. So we make sure that whatever reached to them is ready for the final review and approval.
Brilliant. Thank you, Carolina. We don't actually have any further questions that have come in. If you do have any questions, you always can send them through after the call and we can pick them up. We will be sending out the presentation to those that have joined today. Before we close off, I would like to thank Carolina and Cam for your time and going through all of this. If you do have any questions, as I say, or want to hear more about our solutions, you can reach out to us. We will, as I say, be sending out the presentation so you can reply to that email and we can put you in touch with one of our experts in the team. But I'd like to thank everyone that's joined the call today. Do get in touch if you need anything. And I would like to close today's call. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.